If it's Sunday afternoon, then it must be time for Show Us Your Cat on Joyrider TV. Let's go. Hello, yes, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV, and we're back with another episode of Show Us Your Cat, coming to you from Vasiliki on the island of Lefkos in Greece, the home of Wild Wind sailing holidays, and the summer has really kicked in here now. This past week, out of the 7 days, I think we've had 4 days of what would be champagne sailing conditions in Vasiliki Bay. You may have missed this week also, or you may not have missed. We've been doing some live rudder tuning with the Hobie 16 here. On Friday, we did some live stretching as well. Good to improve your flexibility. And the live videos will be continuing every week on Wednesdays and Fridays at 5:30 Greek time, so you can tune in at that time on those days. So in Show Us Your Cat, what we're doing is looking at your boats and where it is that you sail them. So let's get stuck in and have a look. So we're starting off by heading to Poland, to Gogzalkowicki Lake, where we have Kuba, who sails with his wife Anya on our Nacra Inter 20. The Inter 20 was a boat designed for the International Formula 20 class. This Formula 20 class was for people who were too heavy to sail the Formula 18 class competitively. The only other boat of note which was in that class was the Hobie Fox, but the class didn't last so well because the boats were quite heavy and expensive. So most people were just getting lighter crews and sticking with the Formula 18 class. The Inter 20 and the Formula 20s basically have a tornado size rig on a high volume 2.6 meter wide platform. Here we can see Kuba's Inter 20 is in excellent condition and very well sorted out and well maintained. I believe the Inter 20 stopped getting built in 2001, which means this boat is now 19 years old and it looks pretty much new. Kuba and Anya compete in the Southern Polish Catamaran Championships, which they've won 2 times. They use the Texel rating system there and race with a variety of different catamarans, such as other 20-footers, some Formula 18s and some Nacra 17s. You can check out some great video of Kuba and Anya dominating the racing and other sailing events in the description below, so check that out. Thanks very much, Kuba, for sending in those pictures of your amazing looking Inter 20, and I hope you have some great sailing eventually this summer. Next, we're heading to South Australia, to Goolwa, Hindmarsh Island, where we have Grant, who has a Windrush 14. He's had a Windrush 14 since the early 70s. The Windrush is built in Western Australia, much like a Hobie 14, but with more volume, which makes the boat slightly more forgiving. Now, this Windrush 14, which he bought in the early 70s, he sailed it so much that it wore out, and it was deemed cheaper and less expensive to buy a new one. So Grant invested in this new Windrush, which he's now had for about 10 years. And you can see the advancements on the rig there, especially. It does look much more modern. But Grant certainly enjoys giving it the beans on his Windrush. Now, here's one for how do you get yours there. Back to the 70s. Here's Grant with his Windrush on the trailer behind a proper muscle car, looking fantastic there. And if we forward wind now to the present day, Grant's option is to take also on his trailer a minnow dinghy, which means that all of his sailing options are covered when he gets to the location. Thanks very much, Grant, for sending us those pictures of your Windrushes. Very nice to see what is being sailed in Australia. So next we are going, let's say, going back to Lake Lanier, Georgia, USA, where we have Steve and Nick. This is very much a revisited Show Us Your Cat, but these pictures were too good not to feature. Steve has a Hobie 16 with the 1986 national sales on there. And in the background, we can see Office Hands Dave on his Hobie 16, single-handed, and he's got the 84 national sale quite clearly in yellow. Here's a new feature called How Could Steve Sail Faster? Maybe it's a new feature, maybe not. But what I think Steve could do here, if he wanted to really keep Dave off his back, is just to have a little bit less traveller on the main and the jib, and that would mean he'd be able to have a bit more main sheet in, and perhaps Steve could move a bit more outboard on the boat as well, being able to pin that hull down and keep a bit more power on. But what Steve is doing, which is really nice to see, is playing a good amount of main sheet, which means he's definitely in control of his 16. But Steve really loves sending it on the 16, and here is a near pitch pole, but Steve's determination meant that they didn't flip it on that occasion, because I understand the water is pretty chilly at this time of year. So thanks very much, Steve, for sending in those pictures and video of your 16 again at Lake Lanier, and we will be seeing you soon. So there we go. I think we really hit the three corners of different types of catamaran there, with the Windrush representing the smaller, the Hobie 16 representing the Hobie 16, and then the Inter 20 representing the big technical boats like the Tornado, the F18, the F16, the Hurricane 5.9, the Prindle 19 from last week, and others which are similar. So thanks very much, guys, for sending in those pictures of your boats. If you would like to have your boat featured perhaps in next week's episode of Show Us Your Cat on Joyrider TV, then all you need to do is send me video or photographs of your boat, perhaps with a description of where it is that you sail and any interesting facts about your boat or what you've done with it, and I'll put you in next week's episode. We're also featuring trimarans now as well. If you hadn't got that memo, that is a feature, and trimarans will be honorary catamarans just for that episode. If you are still able to get out on the water, then there's always going on the global speed stick competition. The speed stick has just been updated, so if you haven't had a look, then check it out. The link to the speed stick is in the description below, so you can head over there and have a look. Other than that, I think you'll agree not much else going on at the moment. I think it's just the people in the US who are still able to get out on the water, as far as I know. Perhaps put it in the comments below. If you are still able to get out on the water, say, yes, I'm able to get out on the water. But hopefully in Greece here, the lockdown measures will be loosened a little bit in the coming weeks, and we'll be able to take Hobie 16 number 2 here out on the water to start making some videos of some technique kind of stuff out there. But in the what's coming next section, so what we have is, it's kind of become a bit of a weekly feature now. I'm doing a cycle tour of the area here, which I think is nice, especially for the people who've been here before, or if you're thinking of coming here, it kind of shows you the area. That'll be on Monday. Then Wednesday, we've got live Hobie 16 assembly. This week, we're going to be putting up the mast. Oh yeah. If you've missed the previous episodes, last week we did the rudders, the week before we did the trampoline, and the week before that we put the platform together. Once we've got the mast up, the following week we'll put the sails up and start pulling some bits of string to see what we can do with the sails. Then on Friday we've got live stretching, which is very loosely disguised yoga. And then on Sunday we'll have Show Us Your Cat, would you believe? So do keep the pictures and video coming in, because without your pictures or video, there would not be any Show Us Your Cat. So do keep them coming in. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks again, as ever, to everybody who's been supporting the channel. And we'll see you next week with some more. Until then, stay safe.